Sir, while speaking yesterday, I referred to the problem created for the Export Promotion Council by the quality of goods supplied which lacked both imagination and integrity. Therefore, not only have standards to be let down, but some help has also to be given by way of packing properly to all those people who would also like to ask the Honorable Minister to clarify as to how he is going to lay down the standard for the goods. Will the contract between the buyer and the seller be concluded first and then the quality or standard will be decided? The question of price has to be settled, and we also know that the price varies according to the country that buys the article. I think the House rightly laid emphasis on the desirability of fixing some standard for goods for the home market and also for our imports. The standards for imports, I am told, are governed by other international important rules. Those also must be varying according to the country of import. In any case, unless there are some standards laid down for the sale of goods in the home market, there will be difficulty. There are people who are used to selling the things different from what they had advertised. The thing advertised is something else than actually sold. So, unless our traders are trained to respect integrity and some business morals, it is not possible for them suddenly to rise to the occasion and out of patriotic motives sell goods of the particular specified standard. I would also like to make a suggestion to the Honorable Minister and say that it is not enough to lay down the rules for the export quality control and inspection. It is very necessary now to advertise in the foreign countries that we have taken care of this aspect because of the bad name that we have acquired in the past on account of the business ways of some of the exporters. We have acquired a very bad name in some of the countries, and in order to counteract that, we have to undertake wide publicity in foreign countries to undo what has been done so far. There is one more question which I would like to ask the Honorable Minister so that he may clarify the doubt that may be in the minds of some honorable members. It is stated that the funds for the Export Promotion Council would be partly from the government and partly from funds paid by way of donation. I want to know whether the donors, if they are business people, would not be in a position to take advantage of the position and misuse this Export Promotion Council. Instead, I would suggest that heavy fees may be prescribed for the inspection of the goods, and if necessary, all the money that is required should come from the government and no money should be accepted by way of donations. I would also like the government to see that punishment is not so much in the form of fine, because it is well known that where money is got freely either through black marketing or by taking advantage of certain trade conditions, fine is no consideration at all. 10 or even 100 times the fine can be made good by the people who indulge in these malpractices. Therefore, it is not only enough to prescribe punishment for the persons who are found guilty under this act, but it is also necessary that we prescribe heavy punishment for the inspectors so as to leave no room for suspicion in the minds of the people. I would now like to refer to the question of corruption. I do not know why it has not occurred to the members in the opposition and those who doubted the need for co-option that the variety of goods itself will not make it possible for the council to have members on the council who would be conversant with the qualities of all types of goods. This council is really something on par with the UPSC in my opinion, and for every particular special specialized item, it would be necessary for this council to co-opt one or two experts belonging to that particular trade. I would, if I may, like to clarify one point in regard to the statement that fell from one of the members yesterday with regard to the deal we had with Poland and Russia over shoes. The deal was found defective because the shoes were different according to the changing fashions. The particular items has come in the report of the Public Accounts Committee. The deal was found defective because the foreigners who are used to machine made goods expected goods of exactly the same standards as of machine made goods. Our Indian shoes were made by hand and all of them did not answer the same specifications. These shoes were not meant for fashionable ladies or for others, but they were really meant for the army. Mr. Vice Chairman, I also join in paying my tribute to the Bose Commission for doing this monumental work and giving us a report which is very revealing and which points to some of the glaring defects and deficiencies in our law and administration, which has resulted in large-scale fraud on the public as well as on the government. Normally, one might take a cynical view and say that wherever there is profit motive, people always try to amass as much money as they can through various devices, some legal and some extra legal, in the hope that they might not be caught, and one has to reconcile oneself to such a situation. Unfortunately, we are so situated today that it is not possible for us to take such a cynical view. Both the defense and development of this country require large-scale economic expansion, and howsoever I may wish, it is not possible for the public sector to undertake the sole responsibility of this economic expansion. We have therefore to depend upon the private sector, upon the corporate sector for our economic development, and if this sector does not play its part honestly and efficiently, it will not only be a question of moral turpitude of a personal character, but it would spell disaster to the country as a whole. We have therefore to take a very serious view of the defects and deficiencies that have been pointed out in the Commission's report. To my mind, this report has two aspects. One is to bring to book those who are found responsible or who are found guilty of breaking the law and committing the fraud. I am sorry to say that in this connection, the government has failed in its duty to bring to book the culprits all these years. As the minister has already pointed out, since 1989, rumors were heard about certain irregularities and breaches of laws by certain concerns. I am very complicated and long drawn out machinery was put into motion in order to deal with this complaint. We had first certain investigations, then investigation by the CBI, then a commission, then another committee to give legal advice as to what should be done, and now again inspection by the Company Law Commission and by the CBI. Much precious time has been lost with the result that evidence is not available, and whatever one might do, it is now quite certain that the guilty will not be brought to book. I am not one of those who would advocate any historic prosecution of any person, whatever be the sentiment in the public. It is the law which has to take its own course, and as far as we, the members of Parliament, are concerned, we have only to see that the law does take its course and that the government does discharge its duty. It is not for us to recommend who should be prosecuted and who should not be prosecuted, because as we members of Parliament are not competent to do so. But certainly we are entitled to register our sense of sorrow when we learn that the machinery that was put into motion was so complicated and so long drawn out that prima facie it is now likely that all the guilty are not to be brought to book. Here again, it is not just a question of bringing the guilty to book, though that by itself is a very commendable object, and it is the responsibility of the government to do so. However, in the present circumstances, this has become very important because a feeling is growing in the community that you can do anything you like and get away with it, that the administration of law in this country has become so lax that it is possible for you to indulge in all sorts of malpractices. There is no fear of law in the minds of the public, especially in the minds of the business community. I am very sorry to say this. As I have said at the beginning, I know we have to depend upon the industrialists and the business community and the private sector for the development of our economy, and it would not be wise to pass any judgment in a generalized manner. But with all sense of responsibility, I am constrained to say that today, at least in the industrial community and the business community, respect for law has disappeared and a feeling has grown that you can do anything you like as long as you are clever enough to hide what you are doing. This particular report is a monumental testimony to this fact, and because all those who are responsible for the crimes that have been indicated in this report are not going to be brought to book because of the type of machinery that was put into motion, the feeling is likely to go abroad that you can get away with such crimes.